Kisi Sanju Jumnen Diki, Song Shapiki, Song Rap, Garechi, and Chasa, Lekasa, Sangalia, and Tap Timping, Shada, Sose, Majuya, Labja, Damga Yaris, Lam Rim Text, Lam Rim Lobsang Dorje, Javaina, and Sanju Surap Chasan Ganechi, Soso, Sanju Kovan and Soso Labjeting, Labjetemba, Damga Yaris, the Haku Res, the Sheshe, and the Zanganzine, Diane Yado Kidini, Dangazu, and the chick. Lam Rimbalaya, Jinyamin Chitu, Dumbakia, and Angazu Ninelia, and the chick. Jinjimba the children sweeping Yamen, Junjing Yamnesia, Jungo Res, and Zadia Kuno Delia, Semja, Tamjiki Dundan, Sanyo Kovartova Chiki, Sembiki, Chanchu Sempu Kune Lanche, and to Stunini in some dire sexy, Dico Shura.
Good evening to everyone. So last week we continued to look at the presentation on the four greatnesses of the Lam Rim tradition. And so we spoke, in there we looked at how when one receives teachings, one needs to receive them understanding that every teaching that the Buddha gave, he gave so as to lead beings to the state freed of suffering and problems, the state of greatest happiness. In other words, all teachings were given so as to enable us to attain the state of enlightenment. And therefore, when we receive teachings, we should be receiving them with the understanding that these are personal instructions from the Buddha to ourselves. And we shouldn't see teachings as something separate from the personal instructions or the trainings we need to engage in, but rather take all the teachings as being personal to us. And moreover, we spoke about the need to repeatedly over a sustained period generate the aspiration to cultivate all the stages of the path to enlightenment within ourselves. And that means we need to cultivate the minds of the six perfections, the minds of generosity and ethical conduct and patience, joyous perseverance, concentration and sixthly wisdom, all of these within ourselves, whilst held by or conjoined with the mind of bodhicitta. And in this way, we will rapidly progress to the attainment of enlightenment ourselves. And tonight we'll continue with the third of the four greatnesses, which is near the top of the third page.
Da tabi Gyatso Sunrab ke Donla Majambi Kansa Le Dambo Namgi ni Dembi Mengala Matempara Shung Chimbo Teda ke Donla Twesam Shukyang ane Kontinji Dawa Shindu Minye Baham Nyegyang ane Du Gyun Ri Shin ane Tse Shindu Chawala Dukwe So Sashi.
You will easily find the intent of the Buddha. Of course, the original words of the Buddha and those of the later commentators are perfect teachings, but for a beginner, they are overwhelmingly numerous and consequently, their meaning is difficult to fathom. Hence, although you may study and contemplate them, you probably will not gain experience of their actual essence, or, even if you should gain it, a tremendous effort and extent of time would be required.
Dedar Sunrab Yu Gondrel Dan Jibu Shung Chewa Nam Dambi Cho Yins. Tisnada Sanyi Jimnendi Sung Shepi Sunrab Dan, and Di Gomba Chinjo Malo de Jebi, Gomba Chinjo Malo Ba Jebi Shung Sende Shung Chimbo Tigelia, and Shung Damadi Damga Chodu Cubares, or the Damga Chodu Cubares, and the Sanji Kovan Toyala, Sanjeta, Sanjiko, Tarbata, Tamjekimbo Kovan Tovala, Lam Manova and Matsawa, Chazan, Dendubi, Shung, Dires order.
And so looking at the first part of the first line, of course the original words of the Buddha and those of the later commentators are perfect teachings, So the teachings of the Buddha, as well as the commentaries to those teachings, are here referred to as perfect, or more specifically, as supreme instruction, supreme teachings. And this is because the teachings of the Buddha, as well as the commentaries to those teachings, these present an unmistaken and complete path to enlightenment. So they present the path to cultivate within oneself that will lead to the attainment of enlightenment. And this inner path that is presented is both unmistaken and complete.
ane jiga majang ba ina ane dona de hagu tu marwa se or dona hagu tu mares da bo se de so so ra da nga da nga na shin de ne gi mangbu ro se or da nga zo le ga mangbu ye de ge ane pe chi ta ya ya du su ko jiga shung sang ji sung ra mangbu de ya ane du su me de ge an de ne gi twin gen cha sa ma sa wa an de ne ina nga zo gi sang ji sung ra gi twen de ge jang 장투고 말해 진짜 맞아 완자 만상이게 손럽게 된다 다 당안닝보디 된다디게 하고 두고 말해서 그러
And reading further in the sentence, but for a beginner they are overwhelmingly numerous. And the meaning of this is that this part of the sentence is something of particular importance in our modern world, where lives are busy. We have excellent outer conditions, but we are impoverished in terms of time. We really struggle to have free time where we can sit with a relaxed and spacious mind and read the text of the Buddha and contemplate their meaning. And when we look at the sutras of the Buddha, the teachings of the Buddha, as well as the great commentaries to them, these are numerous. And we don't therefore have the complete favorable circumstances to be able to study and come to understand the meaning. And in particular what we lack is the freedom of time. So not having this opportunity to engage in extensive study of these vast teachings means we will not be able to come to understand the meaning of these texts if we don't study them.
Sonrabyu don la ma chen be kansa le dangbo ala du sonrabyu don la lobjong che ma nyong asi ko ta de ni ko sonrabyu don ya lobjong mang bo je nyong ju bi na ani shung sonrabyu don de lo yong de don da ha bu tu gre se ko wa da ga che jang nyong ji na mang nye ma ne ba sonrabyu don ya ani ji ma jang lobjong che de mang bo tue je ani tue sam je nyong ji na da sonrabyu don de pa lo yong de don da ha bu tu gre se zang de jang ma nyong an za le dangbo se ma zu gi ni le jang ma nyong ra so ra ji za ma nyong an za an ju don da di lo bei ne don da di ha bu tu ma de se ko wa don da.
This term here, beginner. So the meaning of beginner is that it's someone who hasn't studied these vast and profound teachings. And here, the word for study, now just to say as an aside, the word for study has two meanings. It's both study and train. So it has both of these connotations. So a beginner is someone who has not studied and therefore has not come to an understanding. And here this means they haven't engaged in, if we think what we've heard about before, of listening, reflecting and meditating. These first two are missing, and therefore the third can't come about. They haven't engaged in study or listening and reflection. So this is what this term study or train, or study and train refers to. So here the studying and reflecting has not been cultivated, and this is what is meant by a beginner, someone who hasn't been able to study and reflect on these vast teachings.
지상 소소기 다 라마 지기 전에야 Lama Gihin in Dizanma, Damga Shuji, Shunchima Lobsang Dorje. The Nigga Damga Mashuache, Lama Martin Baje, Sosugi Debru Lodge, and the Ajmi Manzugi, that Geshe Thubten Yorwa, the Nigga Nyange, some down in there, and it to Shunchimbalia, the Lobsang Chebaina, Dunda Yantawa Yaku, Sewu Yaku, how to Mares or Condun Chitawashin, the San Yujimniki, Lam Rim Text, Gombe Dunda, the Jimachi how to Mares or Jimachi Yaku how to Marella. There's the how would is, there's how see Rena, Yaku how Jimachi, Yaku how to Mar, when you're done, the Yaku how to Mares or. Let me Mengala, Matimbala, Lamach Matimbachi, Gihinchi Matimbachi, Shunchimbo Dedala, Chesum Jidon, the Debru Lodge, Gihin Matibachi, Debring Law, Shingu, some law, Donda, some Davine, Donda, how to Mares. Anji Lama Matimbachi, Shandagi Sunshibiki, Jusha Gora Yorova, Dinera, just Nyanche, Donda, some Denigate, Nyanche, Donda, some Davine. There's how Yungre Dina, Yamlin Jeta, Shimba Chasawada, Donda.
And concluding the sentence, you probably will not gain experience, and consequently their meaning is difficult to fathom. Hence, although you may study and contemplate them, you probably will not gain experience of their actual essence. The meaning then of this part is that if one hasn't been able to engage in extensive studies, then one clearly will not have heard many teachings and been able to reflect skillfully or successfully on the meaning of those teachings. And therefore, the inner meaning or the deep meaning will not have arisen within one's mind. Or alternatively, someone who doesn't have the opportunity to study in this vast and profound way, but perhaps there are others who do have the opportunity to study with a teacher and receive spiritual instructions from a teacher, that then is a basis for gaining both knowledge and reflection, so to train successfully. But someone who hasn't got that opportunity or taken that opportunity, but rather tries to come to understand the intent of the Buddha through self-study. So they may listen to teachings, to audio recording of teachings, or read texts, but not doing so through relying directly on a teacher. So there is benefit in doing this. Some understanding will come. However, that understanding will not be deep at all, and the understanding will not be particularly clear. Clarity will not come. So trying to self-study, even through relying on good texts, as well as good explanations through audio teachings, without relying directly on a teacher, then the understanding that arises within one won't be clear. It will be, and moreover, it will be limited.
Yin Matemache, Javan, Dine, Kagidu said 60 Chamana, now Kagin, some Jimmy Tartan, called Dulo, your Yorwa, no Dura Chagi or what in it.
If we think of language, so in language, words can have multiple meanings. Words often have many meanings. And so if we're just relying on reading a text, we may misunderstand a meaning because the word has multiple meanings and we're not aware of the actual meaning. So for example, if someone talks about the word cold, and so cold, this word cold has several meanings. It can relate to illness, it can relate to temperature. So hearing about an instruction to do with cold, one may come to a different understanding of what was meant. And this, of course, is a very easy to understand example, but nevertheless, or certainly within the case of the Dharma, where there may be ambiguity, one needs a teacher to understand the clear meaning, the actual meaning.
다 되네 예장 류 윤rin신 안에 최신도 채워라 되고서 지다다 되네게 저게 라마의 된지 다슝 첨보라야 안에 롭장 제바이나 안지게 대 뒤릉부슈 고로 와서 뒤릉부 다슝 첨보 롭장 채야라 뒤릉부 거야다 안에 아직 되네게 냠는 제야야 안에 뒤릉부 거도 아직 야 갈래용으로 와다 지금 로장 길로 망보 제화야다 안지게 갈래용으로서 지사 되네 망보 균등보다 안에 갈래야 안에 망보 용으로서 되네게 지네 장 신고고로서 와 지사 딩하노 영안 소리야 되네기 뒤릉부 로장 제기 뒤서 요마레스 지사 하나 저기 안에 매반장아도 되네 장아 저기 고급을 요마레스 책으로 지사 흉침보 로장 제야 라마 땡긴 땡 로장 지네 많이 많은 균등부 지금 로장 제베도 뒤릉부 거야다 남냠는 제야 냠는 뒤릉부 거야 안 돼야 안 지금 균등부 로장 제와다 되네 인자 갈래 뭐요레서 그러다.
The rest of the sentence then, you probably will not gain experience of the actual essence, or even if you should gain it, a tremendous effort and extent of time would be required. So this is then referring to those who do have the opportunity and embrace the opportunity to study these vast volumes of texts under the guidance and care of a qualified teacher. So through doing so, they have the possibility to gain a profound experience of the actual meaning of these texts. However, to do so will take immense effort over an expansive period of time. This isn't something that can be achieved quickly or easily. Training on dependence on the great texts, and even whilst having skilled teachers, takes huge amounts of effort as well as extensive time.
안에 최신도 채워라 되고서 세야지 다 삼당한 제와 접상으로 신나 다 지게마데 맞지 소수의 데블로제 안지게 되는게 미시에 교를 계세로 되년제 두신에 직 장도를 채봐이나 되는게 돼서 신와티 돼서 신그로와 신바디 유능고 고를 해서지 되네 가서는 내 지금 망보니에다 유능고가 다 삼망보 땅과 되네 될이야 안에 유능고 거야지 고그래 안에 될이야 강아야 망보를 해서지 강아지 가서는 삼다들이 지니에다 세부 하모고 야 뎁다 말하나 야 지디나라 가서 딜라시가 데 망보 제고시도 안에 갈래 망보 그래서 되네야 난 시도 얘기야 유윤회시 안에 최신도 채와 돼서 되고서 세야지 데니질로 공부되셔서 랑기 라마 예 마템바지 양아주 냠는지 데브로 로지 안신이 계세래 년지 돈다돼서 하고 고바를 지요네 데나 하고와 되게 유능부로 고우레스 하고야려 안에 하고야려 데니기 유능부고 안에 깔래야 먹고 차기래스 깔래야 먹는 거래스 그래서 지금 하모고도 시한다 다 찍기 되지 먹고 고우로와 깔래야 먹는 거래스 데네지 공부되셔서
It also then refers to those who don't rely on a teacher, but rather rely on self-study. So they will read texts, they may read commentaries to those texts, and they may on YouTube watch explanations or listen to audios or audio recordings of explanations. And doing so, they will gain some understanding of the text, and one wouldn't say this is not worthwhile to do. However, a vast amount of time and intense effort is required to gain some understanding. And this vast amount of, or great effort over a vast amount of time, this is what is meant by one will experience great hardship or many difficulties. And this engaging in this way, without relying on a teacher, while some understanding will come, that understanding will lack clarity and will lack strength in that it will not be able to eliminate doubts, and one will not gain a clear understanding of the intent of the Buddha.
Lam Rim Text 제가 데네이나 냠는 제알이야 당하고 주이나 레 당보 두수 명한 졸다 긴电제 자야랴 아니 송럽기 뒤에 공대 망보 차야라 두수 망보 거야다 아니 데네자 강아 망보 티고래 데네자 아주 튕기 마상와래 마상와자 당하고 줄이야 안디 상기유 송셰비기 송럽나로 송샤바다 디 공대기 남기 공대 된라 베비셰비기 람냠는 제디 고갑지 라고 말베스 당아주 라고 말해 삼바이나 데네 말아 말해스 데네게 삼지다 하고 고갑라 말해 셈비기 다 냠는 지오가 민두 셈비다 제투사 말해 셈비 네 로shum고야 요 말해서 그러다.
What we're hearing here is that in the circumstances that we find ourselves in, and that compounded by the reality of the modern world, is that we do not have the time required, even if we do have a qualified teacher to rely on, to delve into the great depths of the vast expanse of the Buddha's teachings and the commentaries on those, which would lead to a profound understanding of the Buddha's intent. We would understand not just merely the words, but the inner meaning would actually arise in our mind. Now, we don't have the opportunity for that. However, we shouldn't think, not having the opportunity, well, then we can give up, there's nothing to be done, this is something that cannot be resolved for ourselves in this life. If that were the conclusion of what is being, if that were the conclusion one were to come to reading this, that would be a mistaken understanding.
Lama dembe menga lamdrene janju lamji rimba nidu ni tabola tene shungchimo namji den semebar ne nyebe na jewe komba dela do nyebe chawa side sesang hanzule denigi shungja chimbu taegla ane chi ko marawa dusu gyunringbo tangwanza dene dusu gyunringbo madangwada dene gogabda twinge masawa inza ngazo nyamnen jeherasa mare Sembigi, and the Semju Jaqua, your Mares, Tinza, Garre Lamna, the Lama Damba, Jugim, George, Sun Shebigi, that soon of Chasan, Sanya Jimnen, soon rapna, D. Content, Sende, and Namki Jeshe, Dunda Nimbuti Chasan, and Caso George, and Jancho Lamdranalia, Kibusum, Lami Rimba, Yamlenchida, Rimbos, and Lamki Jotan Chasan, Yores. Denigi Lamgi Drumana Sunshabodi, Denigi Donadi Dusma, Gyatso, Gyavaruch, and the Jachu Lamrichimbo, Jerimuchi, Lam Rim Sunkores. Tis not Deniza, Mahazuki, Lama Stienche, Lamim, Lamate, Denigi, and Mahazuki, Jachu Lamrinda, Lamrin Chemo. That dinner the Gata, Mahazuki, the Sonam Geshe Thubten Rabten legend, Dusma, Gyavache. And the Lam Rim Text in Charagi, New Tudice, Ranzul, Tusi Meranzolia, Denigi Yamlenche, Shung Della Dene, Yamlenchevaina, and Lamate, D. Donda Shung Dele, Yamlenchevaina, and Delia, and Sanyu Sunrap, Nalo Sunsheva Lamia, Lamia Chasa, Nimbochas, and Dujen, Denshires, Duje Denshevainza. Digonean, Yamlenche Hodu, Sangi Sonrap Chasa, good under Nimbo Yamlenche, Combati, how Kugures, just how Dela the Hogura said, Lela Woja, Kaleshra, Kalesh, Lomambo, and Lomambo, Shung Yachimata, Lomambo Kaleja Moache, and Kalechunajine, Dela to Yitu, Kalechunjine, how to Gures or.
So the meaning of what is about to come is that don't give up, don't be dispirited, don't think that there's nothing to be done. Because despite not having all the perfect conditions, there is a solution, there is a method, and that comes in what follows. However, because the Lam Rim tradition has its source in Atisha's A Lamp for the Path to Enlightenment, which incorporates all the various oral teachings of the Supreme Indian Masters, even someone like you can easily and quickly arrive at the Buddha's intent. I think am I back? Yeah. So the meaning of what is presented here in the final part of this point is that For those of us who don't have the opportunity to study for many years at the feet of a renowned teacher, investigating in great detail all these vast teachings of the Buddha and the commentaries to them, leading to a profound understanding of these teachings arising within us, there is something that we can do. Because Lama Atisha founded this Lam Rim tradition, which is an abbreviated presentation of the entire Buddha Dharma, arranged in a particular sequence, a graduated sequence that leads to the final goal of enlightenment. That we, through engaging in this Lam Rim tradition, we can come to gain clarity of all the individual stages and how one leads to the other, and one based on the previous leads to the next, eventually coming to the attainment of the final goal of enlightenment. And this Lam Rim tradition that is founded by Lama Atisha, this has been expanded on by many other great lamas, such as Lama Tsongkhapa, who wrote a vast text called the Great Lam Rim, or the Lam Rim Chemo, which is a very detailed presentation on a very detailed summary of the Buddha's teaching, arranged in the same way as Lama Atisha's text. And then there are other even far more abbreviated presentations, even more abbreviated than Lama Atisha's text, such as the text we are studying here, this text by the conqueror Sonam Gyatso. And this is a greatly abbreviated text, but even in such an abbreviated presentation, it contains all the stages that one needs to practice in the correct sequence to attain a good rebirth, to attain liberation from suffering, to attain enlightenment. So therefore, one can come to understand the Buddha's intent, the essence of the Buddha Dharma, without having to endure great hardships over an extensive period of time. And one can do so through relying on the Lam Rim tradition.
Sonam Mambo Sonshavi, Donda de Cares, Combalan, Donda Carella, Donda de Carson Yoresina, Sonam Namalia, Donda Carson Yorelana, Yamlen Jegi, Sanji Ganzo, Sanji Gopontoya, Dondala, Yamlen Chia, and Diniel Mondo Adelene, and to give Jinki call Lam Yamlen Chia, then they give Chumi call Lam Yamlen Chia. Donna Nazo Garsana, and Nanson le Tarajel had a Muko Pontoya, Dondala, and Yamlen Chia. And the hand, Dingy de Tarpatoya Donala, Yamlenjea, and the San Yogo Montoya della Yamlenjegi, Dondadi, Disuno, Surab Nala, Donda, San Yogo did it. Tis Delia Lobjon Jene, Disunguya de Donda Carelabna, Din Yamlen Chebala, Din and Arnojugi, Nanzo Yamlenjegores. Tis the Disunya di, Arnojugi, Yamlenjeg, Donda Sungur, Sanji Donda Sunyadi, Din Yamlen Lamgi Rimbad Masungwares. Disunya de Donda Yingbo Carelana, Nanzo Yamlenjeg, Donda Sunwares. Tis an Arzo Yamlenjeg, Donda Yingbo Carelana, Nanzo Ya Tarbada, Tamji Gova Toya di Sunwares. Tis an Disunwanza, Sanji Gomba Dides, that Che, Sunrap Nana, Gyatso Sunyana, Chasan Donda Yingbo Sanji Gomba Donda Dides, Di Dondalia Mango Sunwares. Tis an Lam Rim Yamlen Che, the Lam Rim Delatin and Yamlen Che, the Arzo Carsosana, then Kiwachimal Hada Muko Toya Donda, Yamlen Che Shingore, and then Yamlen Didi Sunwada, and then Tarbatoyagi. To be Childua, Yamlen Cheta Shingor, Sanjo Montoya, Lam Yamlin, but Shara Shingor. Then she answer Sanji, Sura Mambana, Suya, Gombati, the Nani body, and Lam Yamlen Cheba, then she's a how to good as order.
So see in the very end of this point, and quickly arrive at the Buddha's intent through it. So the meaning is, through relying on the Lam Rim tradition, without great hardship or a great investment of time, we'll quickly arrive at the Buddha's intent. What does then this term, the Buddha's intent, refer to? So we could say the Buddha's meaning, or we could say the essence of the Buddha Dharma. And what is then the essence of the Buddha Dharma? What is the essence of what Buddha taught? So Buddha taught us how to train, or to express it slightly differently, how to train our mind. And to train our mind with the intention of achieving a particular goal. And that goal will be in relation to the individual person's capacity at that time. So for some people, their goal would only be to ensure they don't fall into the lower realms, but rather attain a good rebirth of a human or God. So such a being of smallest capacity, the intent of the Buddha was to guide them how to do so, how to train their mind, to impart this knowledge, as well as not just the knowledge, but how to train the mind to achieve that. Or for those of a greater capacity than that, those said to be of intermediate capacity, they will have, through the Buddha's intent, the achievement of the fulfillment of the Buddha's intent, will have come to see that cyclic existence in its entirety, no matter where one is born, not just in the lower realms, but even in the happy migrations of a human or God, one's experience is pervaded by suffering. And having given rise to a wish to definitely emerge from suffering, they will strive for liberation from cyclic existence, to be freed of samsara. So the fulfillment of the Buddha's intent, or the fulfillment of the Buddha's intended meaning, this is training in the methods to achieve liberation from suffering. Or for those who have come to see that the liberation from suffering for themselves alone is insufficient. How can they strive just for their own lasting happiness, while others who are suffering in exactly the same way and share the exact same wish to be freed of pain and frustration and misery would be left behind? So such a person has the greatest of capacity, and they have as a goal enlightenment, Buddhahood, omniscience. And there, the Buddha's intent, the Buddha's meaning, the fulfillment of that is training in the Buddha's teachings that lead to the development of the state of omniscience. So this is what is meant by the Buddha's intent, and through relying on the Lam Rim tradition, one can achieve this without great hardship and without having to invest an expansive period of time.
Lam Rim and gave a San Jumnet, you soon shape, you soon of Son Jibbe, Lam Rimba Dike, and the Kaleshara Jamoche, and the Tisu, Nuchinalia, and the Azuke, and the Chick, and Yamnejiago, and the Hako to race Larva. They allow the Dana sometimes that Chiki, Shun Chimolia, to some Lomia Chino, Lo Nishu Sum Chusada, Lo John and Nishu Lobjan. Dine duzu chola redo sambe samsam yungru atanga di lobjon che de karelane sanje ko tarbada tamji kimba goma toye to na lobjon chi gore de dine tarbada tamji kimi goma toye dizu lobjon maje benna lamrim nyamlen che baina dine tarbada tamji kimi goma to tugudu wa dine yung ge chembolya thesam je lo mangbo lo mye je dosa mangbo ta dine je de dadi di goya minu sambe ya dine ke do go yon sigiro wa.
Having heard here how without a great investment of time or many hardships, through relying on the Lam Rim presentation or the graduated stages to enlightenment, one can quickly progress spiritually, then the doubt may come. So why should one engage in extensive study programs where one studies for many years the great texts as well as the commentaries to them? Is that not then a waste of time? If one just through relying on the Lam Rim tradition, one can ignore those great texts, because the great texts have as a goal for the practitioner to attain liberation from suffering and enlightenment, but so too does the Lam Rim tradition. So why waste time studying profoundly those great texts when one can rely on something much simpler?
Alright, dine sambayina na pena ngara zuge namgyun nerwa chunal ba ki kyap jangan chorwa ki 예ẹp 장야 저러봐 장지 추춘추 나라 예ẹp 장야다 추침보 나라 예ẹp 장네 추가 제가래 첨보다 춘춘다 아니 추되네 육추 첨보다 되네게 추키 키도게 망고 추망보 나라 봐 예ẹp 장데 장도를 태교 미셔와 당저 예균에 마장교 저러봐 다 되네게 미니 단 되는 말 추직파 예는 조고요 봐나 나들 봐 예인지 튀긴 저다 이 균에 마장을 믿을려 아큐론 당보 강바디 접샤 되네 강바디 주샤 된 대수샤 두 전에 기인데 봐 치전 길리는 편이 주파셔대 계투로 와 두야 응으로 와 직전에 야 되네 기도 강아 망보야다 마 딤줘야다 야 라야 깔래 호용식으로 와난 되네기 즉 주나게 망보 잡 장되는 니가려서는 가세 갈래기 추첨보다 준주다 가세가 게 장되는데 되는 바 추리 기억하시네 콜레 깔래샤요 막 둠데오시네 아니 레라진 파 기투로와 가서 거 조다디 예니기 결혼 안 되는 바도 스토어에 랍샤네 콜람사딘 바 찍기 해야 레라용으로와 어디나시제 아 저기 흉침벌야 아니 로망보다 흉망벌야 숙소라 망벌야 퇴선 망보제 장용 망보 장들 제겐디기 람림이 얌는 체도 직삼다되네 삼망고지 뎁질이고 망고 삼다투야다 아니 갸체 삼다투야 너네 갸체 가서 삼다나 삼모디 누버체로 차야다 아니 냠는 제야래 디고로 아니 너네기 땅아 저기 디 죽기 야고 잡신한테 집아차고로 와 제가 땅아 저기 딱 중침보 롭좀 맞지 람림 주고로야 롭좀 제 냠는 제 되되 날라메게 결혼 디장 길리치는 소소게 돼서 하고 갸체보 대디디 중침보 따와 나신 삼다 두고 말해 두고 가고래 되네 마토와자 개발디요 나가질래 나디딜 마서는 계획 만형한테 주는 저한테 집아차대 그래
There certainly is a difference between someone who studies or trains themselves, or both study and reflection, on the basis of the great texts and their commentaries, and on the basis of the Lam Rim. So we can take an illustration when someone learns to swim, then one can learn to swim in, say, a swimming pool as one did as a child. So it will be quite a small swimming pool, not too deep, and with some effort and training, one will be able to eventually swim from one side of the small and shallow swimming pool to the other. And this won't involve particularly great hardship or take all that long. And we know this from our own experience when we were children, or from what we've observed with our children. But whilst such a swimmer who has trained in this way will be able to swim across a swimming pool, that doesn't mean that their training is the same as someone who started there but went that much further and are able to swim across perhaps an Olympics swimming pool, or across a bay, or perhaps a small sea. Such a person has far greater training, although they both can swim, they both are swimmers, but there's a vast difference in their capacity. So in the same way here, someone whose mental training is based on the great texts, their development in terms of the vastness of their mind and the profundity of their understanding is incomparable to someone who has trained on the basis of something much more abbreviated. So both will have developed very useful mental skills and abilities, and their mind will be in the process of trained and developed. But their capacity, their ability, that will be different. Their knowledge, their wisdom, their vastness and profundity of their understanding, that will differ.
슝제몰라 롭종 제제 람림 냠네 체바이나 제류갑라 아니 어디 디제가 가래라 어디 제가 좀 디레 마시도록 다 슝제몰 롭종 셰라 마제바 장저 람림 지부라 롭종 제데 디제레 디냠 공고 디제레 디 삼당고 삼노 바람 림바디 아주 장아 제 냠네 제 두고와 이네 and Dijewa Kares, Michi Dura Tana, that is Lavia Kalahwachagua, teaching Yamnaja, Dimagine teaching Digrua, Dijewa Kumzakare Lamna, and Lavia Kumsen, some Tala, Shikbadu Sitia, near Tuskalaka Chagre. Ninja Shung Chemugi, the Lobsang Dorje, Lam Rim Text, go Dus Corsore, some Lord Master Ribon, Gyatso, Diana, some time you are Chagore.
So practitioners who have trained in the great text and those who have trained on the Lam Rim, and those who have trained well on the Lam Rim, they will understand very well the sequence of the stages to enlightenment. They will understand how to train their mind and in the correct sequence. So they both will share that, and they both thereby can continue their spiritual progression, their mental development, on the basis of their knowledge. Where the difference will come is in the vastness of the understanding and the profundity of the understanding. And how that difference then will be experienced is in the ability to overcome doubts and lack of clarity, as well as their ability to guide and train others. Because of the vastness and profundity of understanding of those who have engaged in studies that are vast and profound, they will have a very different strength to their basis than to those practitioners who have engaged in their spiritual development solely or primarily on the Lam Rim. So both will be able to train and spiritually develop and progress, but there will be a great difference in their mental capacity, the profundity and the vastness of their understanding, and thereby their ability to overcome misconceptions and doubts, as well as to be able to guide and lead others. Now we finish the third of the four greatnesses and we come to the fourth.
That's it. The Nebi Sanje Gatamche, Mudan Gibu, Sanje Thubten Rabten. Jisa Lam Rim Ma Sonam and about this right. The Nebi Sanje Gatamche, Mudan Gibu, Sanje Thubten Rabten.
Reading the first sentence, when you realize the intent of the Buddha, you will see all his direct and indirect teachings as wise and skillful means for satisfying the diverse spiritual needs of the variety of beings.
Lam Rim Text Labjay Bahagoa, and the Sanji Sung Di Chazan and Gawame Bahagoya, and then how go on do, and the Garasosna, and Sanji Gatam, Jimur and Gubicone, Sanji Gat Kashigi, Sosungusu, the Lam Rim Text Lam Tingore, Kashi Musuma by name, a Guinea and Sanjavala, Thubten Gores, Thubten by the Hago to go, Regere.
So the meaning then of this is that when one is training through training in the Lam Rim, one will come to understand, now recapping the four greatnesses, one will come to understand that all the teachings of the Buddha are to be taken as personal advice for ourselves. They're not meant for, we shouldn't be receiving teachings thinking that these are relevant to this person or that person, but taking them all as personal advice for ourselves. Moreover, we will understand that the Buddha's teachings are not contradictory. Because of training well in the Lam Rim, we will not see contradiction in the Buddha's teachings. And thirdly, we will come to understand the true intent of the Buddha, or the intended meaning of the Buddha Dharma. And thereby, we will come to understand well teachings, whether the meaning of teachings, whether they are direct or indirect teachings, and we'll understand their meaning in these three ways.
then jam ni jo komya da janju sem goma da parjin ju ge nyamlen che dong yu de be shara komya de ni ge nyamlen che de da gar sung go rasne san jo goma thoya la ngwe su nyamlen che ngwe sung go wa da de ne janju sem ba de nyamlen che zo di di wa de ne ane nga ju ge meni de jewa chi ma la da mi go ba tho ba che go re ki bu chung ge lam yi ba che ro wa de so ane 산조 고바토에 우수 냠네 수메나 유네 핑고래 지레 지상한테 산조 고바 냠 산조 고바토야라 전주 셈지 냠네 제야다 파주르게 냠네 제야라 땡 개발제 미류딘의 고고르만 사다 미류딘 땡 개발지 대래 때네 냠네 제고마데 둔주게 땡 강송에 때래게나 만데 땡 유튜브 장아도 냠네 제 고브라고 말레스 제사 데네 인자 냠는 제야라 땡 개발진 고고래 데티 땡 개발진 토비알라 근데 다다 미고바 토비알라 가르 자고 류마 유숨 요거네 수림송야다 아니 점도 제야다 모두 수야 되게 자사 산지 고바 토에 우수만의 유인의 순고래 유인의 산지 고바 토에를 팽고래 순고래 계단 기부 증계 람 냠는 제야 기부 충계 람 냠는 제야 되게 전주선반남리아 산지 고바 토에를 유인의 띵고래 팬도고레스 사기vel 탑레스 다 장주셈다 잠니제 장주셈 동유도베 시라 고미야 데 산지 장주셈반의 용어소 냠는 지에게 라렌데데스 제가 디네자 산지유 송 최나라 갈 송구에나 가브리엘라 무엇 냠네 산지 고바토에 무엇 냠네 지에 고 송고래 가브리엘 흉카체 나려야 무엇 냠네 지에는 무엇 냠네 지에게 띠엔디 야고 용야라 디니엘야 데리 지에게 용야게 탑람디게 신고레스 띵고래 제가 뭐에던 유비고네 said 탑된 바레스 탑된 바데 하고 두고레스 그럼.
To explain what is meant by direct and indirect teachings, let's give an illustration. When one is receiving teachings on the practices of a bodhisattva, we'll hear about the need to cultivate the minds of love and compassion, and thereafter special intention, leading to the generation of bodhicitta, the mind of enlightenment. With that generated, the bodhisattva needs to engage in the practices of the six perfections. So those would be those being ethical conduct and generosity, ethical conduct, patience, joyous perseverance, concentration, and wisdom. So that when we hear about the practices of a bodhisattva, the trainings of a bodhisattva, the teaching will probably be looking at these topics. So that would be a direct teaching. Directly, the practices of a bodhisattva are being presented, and it refers to the cultivation of bodhicitta and the six perfections. Indirectly, it implies, so the indirect teaching here, the implied teaching would be in order to be able to continue our spiritual progression to the fulfillment of the goal of a bodhisattva, the attainment of enlightenment for the sake of others, one needs to have continuing good rebirths where we have all the accumulated favorable conditions to continue our spiritual practice and continue to be of benefit to others. And therefore, we need to cultivate the minds of... Okay. Sometimes it's here, so I'll just... So we need to practice ethical conduct, a cause for good rebirth. We need to cultivate generosity, the cause for having good conditions in our future lives. Cultivate the mind of patience, further cause for good condition in our future lives. So in other words, the direct teaching is to engage in the six perfections. The indirect teaching is through engaging in those practices, one also accumulates the causes to have good rebirths, to ensure that one's spiritual progression, spiritual development can continue. So this isn't being directly said, but it's indirectly stated, or it's implied. So this is the meaning of a direct teaching and the implied or indirect teaching.
Geshe Thubten Rabten, Geshe Thubten Dorje Dana Kala Rosana, Takashing on the Oda, Janju Shungro, Sanji, Sura Tono, Delia Jambada, Ninja, Janju Sim, Passion to Yamne, don't you to be shared or soon Divina, or Daddy, Sanji go on Toya, Tap Tinsha, Dinyam Chiagoya, and Dia Yakura some. I am Jung Kashenalia, Sanju Sung Kashenalia, Temengi, and Yandu Namji. Lam Rim Text, this Taba maybe Lam Rim Text. Also, Sanjo Gopa, Taba Chimichi, this Yamlen Chehomare, the and Pa and Yamlen Chehomar by Shash and Tigris, the Lobsang Chehomare said, Sanji Geshe Thubten, Geshe this Sanjavala, and Kibu. Yandu Lam Rim Text and Sanji Gopa, New Gries, Garson, Kibu Lam Rim Bares, and the Kibu Chimbo Janju Simian, this Yamlen Chigio Mares, and Pasha Baina, then Chubongli Sagor, Chubongli Sagores. Since I did not see now to Yamlen Chigachina, or Danga Sanga Yamlen Chigade, do the Yamlen Chehomare, do Tauhomare, to Goya Chelade, now Yamlen Chehomare, Shabana, and it is so, and the Chubongli Sagres. Manzunga Yamlen Ched, Sanjo go on toil, Tiny word, Diakure said, Dinyamlen Chehore said, Pasha. Teacher. Then do goes Digo do on Yamlen Ched, Benamdo Damara Giri, Dinyamlen Chigio Mares, the Dago Malujan Chew Mares, Dishawore Sana, Dine, Jesa Diniza, Chilia, and Jignamlen Chekoya Samda, Jigpa Yamlen Chema, Shaya Samda, Chubong Lesa Sagores, Jesa Diniza, never Chimbures, or Din Chubong Lesa Gores.
Then the second sentence in this paragraph, to say that some lineages of Dharma are perfect methods and should be practiced, whereas other lineages are imperfect and should be ignored, is the karma called abandoning Dharma, a great negativity indeed. So what does this then refer to? So, if we are reading a text or receiving teachings on the trainings that a bodhisattva needs to engage in, then we will hear great encouragement to develop the minds of loving compassion and develop them to the point where bodhicitta actually arises within us. And under the influence of this mind of bodhicitta, to engage in the practices of the 6 perfections. So this will be strongly encouraged, and taking encouragement from this and being enthused to become a child of the Buddha, then we may set out wanting to become a bodhisattva and train in this way. And with such a motivation, then we read further on the Buddha Dharma, and we perhaps read a text extolling the virtues of attaining liberation from suffering, attaining liberation from cyclic existence in its entirety. And we see this text and we think, oh, this is a text belonging to the Tibetan tradition. This isn't a text of the Great Vehicle. I don't need to train in this. This isn't relevant to me. I'm a practitioner of greatest capacity. And we put that aside, thinking, I don't need to train in that. So that would be an illustration of abandoning the Dharma. Another illustration that practitioners may make would be thinking, I'm a practitioner of secret mantra. I'm only engaging in the practices of Tantra because these are said to be the most profound of teachings, and I've heard this said that these are the supreme teachings, these are the quickest method to attaining enlightenment. I'm only engaging in these practices. I don't need the sutra teachings. I'm a practitioner of Tantra. So this then too would be making the mistake of abandoning the Dharma.
Dina Shin Dang doing I give Chimbigi Lam Yamlen Chair, I give Chum Lam Yamlen Chair Mare, Nanzole Marseada. I give Chimbigi, Janju Simbi Yamlen Chair, Sanjoko Montoya Dondala, give Chimbi Lam Yamlen Chair, just I give Jingi, the Manzu Yamlen Chair Mare Sada, Denishevena, and this would Chevongle Sago Regirada.
This would be again similar if for someone saying, I'm a practitioner of the great vehicle, striving for enlightenment. What do I need to think about, or hear teachings on, or think about those that are relating to the middling scope, those are for beings of intermediate capacity, those who are striving for liberation merely for themselves. I don't need those teachings. They aren't something I need to train in. I'm more developed than that. I'm striving for a greater goal. That would be a mistake, and that's the mistake of abandoning the Dharma.
Lam Rim Yamlin Chebaina, Lam Rim Yamlin Chebaina, Tisa Capachim Buchu Yamlin Chegina, Tangbo Kibu Chumi Lam Yamlin Cheada, Teneki Butingi Yamlin Cheada, Teneki Buchimba Yamlin Chegabadi, Hako Tugores, Arsenal. As the Genzel Masona, Genza Ya Toa de la Gangwajalo, Ona Ya, Wama Gangwajab, Dinya Jab Jungurua, Dina Shi, Anzuli, Kibu Chimbu Lam Yamlin Chela, Dambo. Kibu Chung da Tumo somebody get Pachang. Diva Ya O Chang Sadu, didn't Kibu Chung da Tumo somebody Ya Chang. Diva Chang didn't Kibu Chimbu Lam Yamlen Jet Yungor. Just that Woma Digi Chili, Pingo, Mother Nugo, Chili Yanzo, Woma the Yamlen Kama, the Yamlen Jelia, Daniel Tumbo Shukshela, how quiet Nanga, how quiet Lela to go. Didn't Kibu Jingi Lam Yamlen, Tinda Tumo, Lam Jimbadi, Yamlen Jay. Digi Kibu Chimbu Lam Yamnajalia, Daniel Tumba Chile, the Delia, and the Pando Cheyungur. Dinenza, Chazan Yamnaja, Guaya, by the Hago to Gore. The Dineza Yamnaja in a Don Yamnaja, Yamlin Chelia, and there goes Sheshagi, Chanshu Semda, Tombani Topi, Doni Topa, Sherapta, Passion to Yamlin Tige, Yamlin Jehor, Din Yamlin Majaba, Yamnaja Mare. Just that Dineza, Dico Society. Duheko Shaggy Passion to Yamlenda, Jamni Janju Simbi Yamlin Sheo, Din Yamlin Jene, Yamlin Jaban, Naga Yamin Chelia, Lela to Panto Sheungore. Since I didn't say Yamlin Chevala, Tiso, Doni Shepiki, and just Yamlin Chegua. Dineza, Lam Rim Yamlin Jabana, Lam Rim de la Tene, Yamlin Jabana, Sanji Sura Nalo, Son Shepiki. Kibu Chungu course, Lam Yamlin Chia, Janju Semba, Tavachim Church, Yamlin Chia, and Yamlin Chia, Gugu, but Haku Turi, and Janju Lam Rim Yamlin Chia, Yamlin Chia in Jekintina, Donna, the Son Shepiki, and Janju Semna Pashu Yamlin Dike, Shinko, the Haku Tugures, just Haku Tuas, I didn't how go on to, and the Karshi was no, and this Yamlin Chia, DJ Mare said, Chupong lady, Rashi Yumare said. Rangasu to Grace, Chesa, Dinade, Disundua, Tamba Dilla, Dengar Sheba, Tar, Temba Tamje, Game to Topes, Tope, never Zamji, Dina, how go to Grace, how go you do, Chevon led Tigiana Yungmares, Chesa Rangasu to Grace.
The training in the Lam Rim, one will come to understand this clear and unmistaken sequence of trainings that one needs to engage in order to attain the final goal of enlightenment. One will understand what the sequence is and how to develop these within oneself, so one will have not just knowledge, but one will be able to gain experience one will know how to gain experience of the knowledge that one has acquired. So one will understand clearly what are the practices to be cultivated by a being of smallest capacity, a being of intermediate capacity, and a being of greatest capacity. But moreover, one will understand that if one has an aspiration to enter the path of the Mahayana, to become a bodhisattva, in other words, one has the wish to become a being of greatest capacity, then to fulfill that ambition, one needs to train in the practices that are in accordance with the being of smallest capacity. Furthermore, one needs to train in the practices that are in accordance with a being of intermediate capacity, as well as training in the practices that are unique to the being of greatest capacity. So with this knowledge, one will not make the mistake of abandoning the Dharma thinking, I don't need those practices that are only necessary for a being of smallest or intermediate capacity. Those aren't relevant to me. One will not make that mistake because one will understand the need to train in the practices that are in accordance with the beings of smallest and intermediate capacity. Furthermore, through coming to know the Lam Rim well, one will understand that the sutra practices are the basis upon which tantric practice is successful. Without having cultivated the practices of the Lam Rim well within oneself, tantric practice will not be effective. And this is because what makes the tantric practice effective is the power of the cultivation of the minds of bodhicitta and the wisdom realizing emptiness that have been cultivated. And those are cultivated through the trainings of the sutra method. So through training well in the Lam Rim, one's tantric practice will be much easier because it will become more effective. And that is because of the prior cultivation of the minds of bodhicitta and the cultivation of the wisdom understanding emptiness. And thereby one again will not make the mistake of abandoning the Dharma through thinking, I don't need to engage in sutra cultivation, the trainings of the sutra path. I only need to engage in the tantric practices. Again, one will be protected from making such a mistake. And then Genla concluded here reading, however, if you study the Lam Rim, you will see how all doctrines of the Buddha and lineages coming from him are non-contradictory. Then the great negativity of abandoning an aspect of Dharma will never occur.
Lam Rim di ane nyamne cheba ina changshu Lam Rim di ki chewa ta ma des kya songshebe Lam Rim chembo chejime songshebe Lam Rim chembo dele ya nga chugi chesam che nyamne cheba ina an dele ya Lam Rim sanji gi sonra gi dende ni bo chasa de du ne ne Lam Rim ba chasa chi ma songsha yo res songsha ban za da nga chugi deso ane chige dusu gyunribu mahoya dan ane chi dusu tono nyunyu nale nga to lojo je tuya chire yesi korwa.
So then the meaning of the advice that the conqueror Sonam Gyatso is giving to us here is that those of us here, we don't have the opportunity to study the great text in profound detail. However, that doesn't mean that that we are in a hopeless situation. That's not the situation we find ourselves in at all. Rather, because of having direct access to the Lam Rim tradition, whether in the texts such as the Great Lam Rim by Lama Tsongkhapa, or more abbreviated texts such as this one here, we, without needing to make intense effort in studies and training over many years, we can come to a profound understanding of the Dharma through relying on the Lam Rim. In this way, without needing an expansive period of time and having to endure extreme hardships, we can embark now on our spiritual progression, our spiritual journey.
Lam Rim di nyamlen jeba ina ane karayong rosane sanji yu sungrab kane chi ine ya ane si dini gawai meba chasangi soso rangi ane sanji gobang towa le ya ane 책임이 하고도 그래서 책임 판도에 받아 하고도 그래서 대상이 송딩한들 판도민도 딩냠내 지내가 네 판도민도 세리 매봐 제 상이 송간의 힘이네 소소야 강사지 상지고방 토야 되나 장주심이 냠내 제발라 아니 판도에 받아 하고도 그래서.
So we'll understand that through training in the Lam Rim, we'll come to, through our knowledge and experience, we'll see how everything the Buddha taught is non-contradictory, in that it all served to lead beings of varying dispositions or personalities to the goals of liberation from suffering and then enlightenment. So the teachings are not contradictory, and moreover, all the teachings are relevant to us and therefore should be taken as personal experience. And seeing them in this way, we'll have an understanding of the intent or the meaning of the Buddha, the meaning of the Buddha Dharma, and this will serve to guard us from making the mistake of thinking this teaching or that teaching or this class of teachings is not relevant for me, and thereby abandoning it. So this in brief is the meaning of or the meaning of the advice that Sonam Gyatso is giving to us.
Lam Rim Nyamlen Chebayina and the Sanji Sungane Chinia, Sosulia, Sanjo Kupon Toyaki, Danga imba, Soso Labja imba, how to grace.
And in particular, to take all teachings that we receive as personal advice directly to us.
Chisada, Denigi, Sanji Sunda Chazan, Lam Rim Nyamlen Chebayina, Sanji Sungane China, Gawa Meba, Sosolia, and Sanjo Kupon Pando Yoba, Chagi imba, Hagoyata. Sanjo Sungane China, Sosolia, and Ejike. Nyamlenje labja dama imba ha go yodu ane sangi sungi nyamlenje thangi rimba ane kebu chungye lamye dimye nyamlenje de rimba da lamye rimba dige nyamlenje de jeta dige seo geyo gomba nyamlenje rimba dige pa donda dige ya ha go rese geyo gomba de la nye ba sa ha go du rese.
Through training in the Lam Rim, then we'll come to understand that every teaching we receive, we should relate to this as personal spiritual advice and not have an attitude of seeing a teaching as separate from being directly intended for ourselves. We'll come to see that the meaning of the Buddha Dharma, of any teaching from the Buddha Dharma, is it was given to benefit us and benefit us in an ultimate way, to lead us to the attainment of enlightenment for the sake of others. And this way we'll come to see that the Buddha Dharma is not contradictory. And that conviction then will serve us well in our spiritual development. And moreover, we will come to understand the entire presentation of the Buddha Dharma within the context of the beings of the three capacities, small, intermediate, and greatest. And we'll understand the correct sequence and how to develop each of these realizations within ourselves and how one realization complements the others. And in this way, we'll see how all these spiritual trainings, all these realizations are complementary, they're non-contradictory, they're beneficial, and are relevant to us personally.
Denigi that Sanji Sunrap condition Gawa Mebata, Sosugi and Sosulia, Sanji Gomotoya, Labja Imbama, Tamga Imba, how go you do, and it is a these Yamlenche, your Mare, di Sanji Sun and Din Yamlenche, Madin Yamlenche, or Sebi, and Denigi, Chubon lady, Chubon with divided by Young Mare, Nature Chimba Ranga Sutroasa, Chubon, never take young Mares, Carson, Chasan, Yamlenche, how go Sarva, how go Sansa. Chasan Sanjusura Ganesha Sosulia, Sanjo Gomotoble, Damga in Bahago Sarva, Damga, Labja Bahagodo, or Dipando Mare, Dio Margeo Mareseba, Yamlenchego Maresedi, Pa Samno Lig Mares, Dimale, and the Chebong lady, Young Mares, Rangani, Niejo Chimbo, Chebong, Niejo Chimbo, Rangasuasa Dides, the Nigi, Lam Rim Yamlenchebana, the Nigi Kishu, she or res or she, Kishu Indian.
As we're coming to the conclusion of this, I really want to emphasize the importance here of through training in the Lam Rim, these four greatnesses of the Lam Rim will have the benefit of us seeing each and every teaching as being beneficial to us, as seeing each one as personal spiritual advice to us. And this then will serve to ensure or guide us to see the teachings as being non-contradictory through our development of knowledge and spiritual progression, as well as we'll have the wish to train in the vast array of practices, not seeing as some as being irrelevant for us or beneath us or not suitable for us. Rather, we'll know that they were all taught to be of benefit to us. And seeing them as personal advice, we'll want to train in this wide variety of teachings, and we will thereby not turn away or abandon the Dharma. So these then are the four greatnesses of the Lam Rim.
Dunga Saya than Digi to Yagi Dondalia, Sanji Sonam Poto Mebash Bemo Sungores. That did Donda the young Anzulia, Yamlin Chiara, the nigger Sanji Sun, the Solia Lobsang Chiara, go up the Kumbura Chava Inza, and Delia and the go up Maranzolia, Lobsang Chiagan, Jedemichin, Jaju Lam Rim Chimbo, Lam Drenua, and Negaso, Jaju Lam Resson, and George Lam Resson. Then I go up. The he done that the San Yusurabi, done that you watch us on Duji Lam Rim Sonshar. Indeed, done that the Durs Gavard in Lam Rim Chimbo Sonshar. The Nianza, the Niggy, Ben Massig at Zarchimbo, she watching on the Yamnicha, Kohoba, she watching on the Leche, somebody. That is Ben Massi Yakuresha, some Jangazulia. Del Kahokomiata, Sosarangi. Yamlin Chepe, say Yapores and Kahokomiat, go up to studying Yamlin Jins and begin Dumbakiad, Gores, and Dumbakine, and then also Sanjetan. That Diniki Mason, George Soba, and Jeremy Martin, the Kronzuki, Yamlin and also so, Bemas getting Chimbole, Yakushuresha, Kronzuli, and then Denishi, Kronz and Yamlin, and then Denish too. Bear, and then Denish have a papa, the new Desoyin. The Jalia Jambat and Ziu Wangi Jam Yamlin Cheche, Dian to the Sunshine, the Pemba Sayabo, Zachimo, Gedichimbo, said him. That's on you Jumden Deda and George Lasobatan. Di Gomega on the Lemrim Gubula Macanisine, Desusang, Gidin Jane, Desuya, Deba. Debatisha, the Gidin Dana, Debachi Ores, the Moguchi Ores, that Moguchi in the Sosoine, that didn't go up the nation million butcher top chair, the name Yamna Go Yobatilia, Jaju Lamrim, the Yamlin Gia, Delia, Tersam Lumia Jeans and Big Dumba, and Shushimbo Ores, that is the Labjar of Masone didn't go, Wada.
Understanding these four greatnesses and placing them in mind, then some confidence will gain within us that the scriptures that Buddha Shakyamuni taught, that these are complete and unmistaken, and they are complete and unmistaken because they were taught based on his own experience in the attainment of enlightenment. And with this there's this conviction, immeasurable benefit can come to us because we will see that despite not having the opportunity in this life to study the great texts in a way that is both vast and profound, we have met the Lam Rim tradition. We have come across a tradition that presents the entire Buddha Dharma in a condensed manner which remains unmistaken and complete. And we have met the tradition that started out with Lama Atisha and was expressed in different ways, expressed in different ways by Lama Tsongkhapa, as well as other masters such as his student Sonam Gyatso. And there are various Lam Rim texts, some which are quite vast and expansive, such as the Great Lam Rim, as well as the middling Lam Rim, also by Lama Tsongkhapa. And then there's the very short Lam Rim, the brief Lam Rim. And this text we have here is a commentary to that. So it's still a short text, but they are even shorter than this. But nevertheless, this entire tradition, no matter the length of the particular text, is unmistaken and complete in that all the stages that we need to cultivate within ourselves are included in here. And thinking like this then should lead to the natural arising of great joy within us for this opportunity that we have attained, and lead us to lead to the arisal of an aspiration to engage in spiritual progression through receiving teachings on this text, reflecting on them, and bringing a new habitual way of thinking, developing this new habitual way of thinking through reflecting on what is presented here. And then secondly, it should lead to a rejoicing in the generosity and the kindness of masters such as Atisha and Geshe Rinpoche and Sonam Gyatso and all the lineage lamas, who through their kindness and generosity we have been able to encounter this lineage. And then a wish should arise within us to utilize whatever remains of this precious human rebirth in the most beneficial of ways, not to waste a moment, but to spend our lives cultivating these minds and developing them within ourselves, and thereby being of greatest benefit to others.
다 직자치 무슨 배마스 게든 침보리 대바게 대바체 무고체 다 소소나라인 람림리아 강도도 롭전지 셈베게 다 두바게 대양 롭전치에 대한 소소기 기후야 당 소소기 강아세야 잠만바 심제 탐지 동아제 심제 탐지 디기 두게치도 이 대장아 산요고방 뉴르도 토고고 산요고방 심제 탐지도 산요고방 토벌지 셈베게 토벌쇼 셈베 삼다야다 대산조고방 토예게 된다라 다 롭종 냠린지제 산조고방 토고원자 다 냠린지발에 냠린지다 띵비기 다 흉무지를 퇴지 냠린지 원자 대장에 자주 럼르 침볼바 아니지게 롭종 제디 냠린지 산조고방 토벌지 삼지 언제 삼는데 다제 아니 니네니들 되네 삼다 아니 강도 지도기 현래 펜비자고 주기 선배 삼다야디 다디 디리기 간주 롭생이 디기 달랍자마 소디네 신 냠린지야.
Then the way that you can incorporate these greatnesses into your morning meditation is just to really take this last bit that we spoke about here. Because if you've reflected on these four greatnesses, then when you think about Buddha Shakyamuni and the lineage lamas, then a great appreciation for them should arise within you, seeing their kindness through that through their love and compassion and their generosity, they have shared this with us. And that should lead to a strong sense of both faith as well as aspiration to make the most of this opportunity. Whatever remains of this life, I will use it as well as possible. So this first step in one's meditation serves to bring strength to mind, to uplift the mind, to bring joy to the mind, and give strength to our meditation. And thereafter, you can engage in your normal meditation, reflecting how all sentient beings are the same as myself, in wanting to experience only happiness and not wanting to experience any problems or frustration or misery at all. And therefore, to ensure that all beings without exception attain a state freed from suffering, and a state of lasting happiness, I will attain enlightenment myself. In this way, then one can engage in one's normal meditation. And then lastly to mention, the way to make this meditation effective is to train in the Lam Rim, to continue to receive teachings and then to reflect on those teachings, bringing them to life within oneself. And in this way, we can transform our lives through transforming our way of thinking. We can transform our relationships with others through transforming our minds, transforming our way of thinking. So that then brings us to the end of the class tonight. So if you have some questions, then please feel free to ask. Yes?
In Thailand, we practice what we call Puttayana, which I believe is the same as Theravada. And we learn very little about Mahayana, so I'm just wondering why we have two scriptures in the first place, and what's the difference between these two?
Okay, good. So in Thailand you practice the Tibetan tradition, so I can't say that. And so why are there these two traditions? And so in the Thailand then we don't really hear about them of Mahayana. So why are there these two? And then what is the difference between these two? Okay, good. Dene kong Thailand ne in Thailand la konso tekchung nyamlen cheki re konso tekchengi kola konso uni goki yomare dene kare chene na so tekpedi ni yore chikche dene de ni kiepa kare re de ni che
kare sa tepa kare ni
tepa chung dan tepa chen
ale tepa chung dan tepa chimbo ni se de yonggoya kimjen kare lamna gansa le ya khashegi 소소 라랑 타바 톱 제고도 대장 현심전 탐지기 don다 등의 제투사 말에서 심전 탐지 상요고만 토 제야딩아 용사 말에 대장 소소 라랑 동아 타다를 탈바서 톱고도 셈비기 삼로 다스 리니용으로 아카시 심전 탐지기 don다를 지금 셈비 삼로 매번 미저와 카니 여바인자 상요 줌는 되기 데니기 samlo gyachung azilya tarba toya tablam chiksim gore gyache azilana sanyogoba toya tablam sungoro tabari ni yonggoe dirwa chizada gyachechung gare labna samlo gyachechung re garsne teba chembo labdu gyachembo la gorda teba chembo la de gyachembo la gorda gare gyachembo labdu semjan 탐제 랑지부 마이 랑직 마이 바 semjan 탐제 둥아세 얘기 된다 semjan 탐제 둥아세 semjan 탐제 디기 루야 체도 and the Simjan Tamjo Koala Dredge Tarba, Sanjuko Toya Dundala, Dunga Sega Dundala, and Yamlen Chicken, Tinigi, Yamlen Chickens and the Yamlen Chickens, some of Dennis Tanga Jorova, Della Taba Chimposura, Samba Gachimposura. Taba Chung said, Simjan Tamjiki Dunda, to some Simjan Tamjiki Dunda, Jerache, and the Dunda Juma, the Soso and Koala, Yawala Gage, Koala Gage, Dunga Yosa, Denza, Soso Chibu Dambo. 당보 소소라랑 탈바토고도 지상아랑 당보 탈바토 심전 탐지게 되는 마산바제 나나 지부 탈바토바 지우도 당아라 지부 탈바토 자는야 gel리gel리진 로바제 추와선 비 삼로 되니죠로바 디 삼로 삼로 충완자 콜레 태바 충스라리다 태바 체중기 개발되래.
So to answer your question, first from the translator side, some synonyms, because this will help make it clear. So usually we talk about the Theravada and the Mahayana, but we can use the small vehicle and the great vehicle. That's the direct English translation. But generally these days this isn't used because practitioners of the small vehicle don't necessarily like to be called small. And then one can also use the Sanskrit, which is Hinayana for small vehicle, or Theravada, or for the Mahayana, or that Mahayana as opposed to Hinayana. And then there's a translation which His Holiness uses, or encourages his translators to use. And that's the Pali tradition and the Sanskrit tradition. Because those were the Pali language is what the Theravada or the Hinayana or the small vehicle was taught in. And the Sanskrit language is what the Mahayana or the great vehicle was taught in. So those are synonyms. So what is the difference? Well, first of all, why are there the two? And then what is the difference in meaning? So Buddha taught both. And the reason he taught both is because of the different predispositions or different personalities of beings. So that is why there are two, because of different capacities or dispositions of beings. And then those different personalities will be clear in what are the differences between the two. So the Buddha Dharma of the Pali tradition or the Theravada tradition, the Hinayana, the small vehicle, this is for beings who have a strong wish to attain liberation from cyclic existence, from samsara. They have come to see that samsara is pervaded by suffering, and they want to be freed of suffering. And they have a strong desire, burning desire, to be freed of this. And they do not want to remain for a moment longer within the suffering realms of samsara than they have to. So therefore, they are committed to strive to attain liberation for themselves as quickly as possible. So that so for such a person, the Buddha taught the Pali tradition or the Tibetan tradition. Other practitioners, they have come to see that cyclic existence is pervaded by suffering and have a wish to be freed of it too. So there's the similarity. Where the difference comes is that they see, or before we get to the difference, they also see that all other beings are trapped all other ordinary beings are trapped within cyclic existence in the same way as they are and want to be free. Both types of practitioners see this. The difference then comes in the being of the Mahayana, or the great vehicle, the Sanskrit tradition. That practitioner takes responsibility for each and every other sentient being. So they take as their individual responsibility to the liberation of every sentient being without exception, despite this meaning that they will remain bound within samsara for a great length of time, even having to intentionally go down to the hell realms, to go down to the animal realms or the spirit realms to help beings. They take that as their responsibility. So that is the difference between the two. The similarity is the wish to be freed from suffering, as well as seeing that others are trapped in samsara. The difference is whether they take responsibility for the welfare of others, whether they place the welfare of others as paramount before their own. So that is the difference. Okay? Okay. Thank you. Any other question? Okay. Then thank you very much.